The United Nations played host to a high-level meeting on refugees chaired by US President Barack Obama. The leaders debating on how best to deal with the challenge of large movements of refugees and migrants across the globe occasioned by increased terror activity and conflict. But even as the world discussed how to mitigate the worsening humanitarian crisis, Kenya maintains that the repatriation of refugees is irreversible.
There's sufficient evidence, right, to show that the 3 women in Mombasa the other day, right, whose intentions were stopped, right, and they were not able to carry out the attacks that they wanted to, had some links with people in Daadab. I mean, that is clear. So I don't even want to go back to the other really unfortunate and tragic events that happened in our country, right? But look, I think that the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Let's close the camp and then see what happens.
Kenya is targeting to send back to Somalia 150,000 refugees before the end of the year. Already, some 27,000 have left the Daadab complex. But to achieve that target by the end of the year, more funding is needed.
We're still waiting for the pledges that were made in Brussels. We're still waiting for those. Those have still not come in. Some of the resources have come in, but not everything that was pledged has come in, right? So at least if we get that in, and we get additional resources in, then we can start moving them. We don't have to even move all of them in one day.
Despite criticism from humanitarian organizations, the government stood its ground, maintaining that the country's security supersedes her international obligations and was based on a tripartite deal signed in 2013. Kenya went ahead pledging $10 million to kickstart the process. But lack of more funds has slowed down the pace.
I think there was also a very clear statement that was made by His Excellency the Deputy President, which referred to our own particular situation on the repatriation of Somali refugees. And he made it clear that the repatriation was ongoing and that the numbers were comfortable, but they were not the numbers that we had hoped to see today. They're still a bit slow.
Even as a section of world leaders call for an increase in taking of refugees, the Kenyan government maintains that the closure of the Daadab refugee complex will be key in the fight against the Al-Shabaab terror group. Enock Sikolia, NTV, New York.